I have Jo Gardner with me today. Jo, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thanks for having me. My relationship with Northamptonshire has come about since I was kind of in the pathway at, 12 years old. Came all the way through the pathway, under 13s, 15s, 17s, all the way through to the seniors. Before I moved across to Warwickshire, and then that was kind of while I was at Loughborough Uni as well. And then on the back of that, played a little bit in the Super League. And last summer, I was lucky enough to be awarded a full-time contract with the Sunrisers, one of the new women's domestic regions, which kind of cover Middlesex, Essex, Northants, as well as some of the minor counties as well. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Brilliant. And obviously in terms of that full-time contract that you can obviously call playing cricket a profession, how have things changed for you kind of on the day-to-day, but then also in terms of pre-season and the season?
Yeah, I guess it just gives you that extra time and dedication to the sport, I guess, that it's been there in the past, obviously, but I guess just getting paid for it now, which is great. In terms of like the programme and stuff that we had during the winter, it wasn't too dissimilar from kind of the MCCU programme that we had at Loughborough at uni. So it's not too dissimilar in terms of workload and stuff there. It's just more, I guess, more just focused, and I think as a whole, it's a lot more serious, if that makes sense. Kind of the other 40 girls across the country, I guess it's all pretty new for all of us, and it should just raise the standard of competition going into this season, because we've had that greater contact time across S&C cricket, the mental side of the game, tactics, all things like that. So it's been a great kind of first pre-season, and we've actually got our first warm-up game tomorrow, so should be good.
Brilliant. And I guess touching on that, can you kind of expand a little bit more on anything that wasn't there prior but now is there for you as players now that you've got those contracts?
Yeah, so I guess just the access to kind of the coaches all year round is certainly one thing. I know for me personally, kind of the general squad contact time that you get at, say, county level would only be kind of one session a week, which obviously if you want to pursue the game as a career, then you probably are going to need a little bit more contact time in order to do that. So we've got that, obviously, squad training sessions, one-to-ones as well, incorporated in that. And obviously not having to pursue a full-time job on the side, which has been a thing in the past in terms of the development of women's cricket. There's a few of us like us 5 that are contracted at Sunrisers are doing, so the other girls are doing some stuff for Middlesex and I'm doing some stuff for Northants, kind of 10 hours a week to kind of fit in with our full-time contracts, which is great and provides that balance, to be honest.
In terms of obviously like you say, the access to coaching from a kind of personal point of view, do you feel like that's helped your game come along and help your improvement over the winter?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, our head coach is Trevor Griffin, who's obviously had quite a lot of success in certainly T20 franchise tournaments, winning the Super League in England twice, I think, with Western Storm, and reaching final day all 4 years of that competition. And he's just won the WBBL out in Australia with Sydney Thunder, so he obviously knows how to craft a team and pull them together to get performances. So hopefully, looking forward to this season, that's something that we can build on. And also in terms of kind of it's a new environment for me. Like, going into the season last year, I'd kind of only played with a couple of the girls, so it was quite refreshing in the sense that it was away from the norm of what I had been exposed to over the kind of 3 or 4 years previous. So I think kind of the refreshing new ideas that working with different coaches can bring has been great.
And what are you kind of hoping for looking into the season? Obviously with the preparations behind you, what are you looking for and aiming for?
I think first and foremost we need to probably get our first win on the board, which is something that we couldn't quite achieve last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think once we first get that first win under our belts, then hopefully we'll have a bit of momentum. But obviously I'd love to make finals day for both the Rachel Hayhoe Flint 50 over competition as well as the T20s as well. So yeah, kind of I think the 50 over competition there's a few games at the start of the season, and then there's some T20s, and then finishes off with the 50 over again after the 100. So it should work quite nicely.
What's your standard week going to look like going into the season?
Yeah, so for instance, a kind of normal week for us would be Monday would be a day off, having played kind of county cricket on a Sunday. Potentially, it's definitely the start of the season. If not, there'll be the 50 over comp. So yeah, Mondays tend to be off. Tuesdays will be like a 4-hour training session where we do bat feed ball, fielding, probably a gym session in there as well. I think Wednesdays are a day off as well. Thursdays another 4-hour session. Fridays a 3-hour session. Saturdays I think are a lighter day, so potentially again either a day off, and then Sunday would be probably when we'd have a game. But I know there's some weekends in there where they're kind of double headers, so workloads and stuff will
of course
change a bit around about that. But yeah, that's probably what I'd say it would look like generally.
Yeah, and that's something that you guys kind of feels manageable and something that you're in control of.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly as someone that only has kind of the 10 hours part-time Northants work on the side, it fits in quite well. Those days off also allow me to play a bit of golf as well, which is always handy.
What do you think's next for the women's games? What do you hope is next, and what do you think, what else can be done?
I think in an ideal world you'd have kind of, obviously you've got the 8 regions and 5 pros at each region. Ideally you'd have a whole squad of pros, like similar to the men's, in terms of everyone in the squad having a full-time contract, which I know is similar to what the state teams out in Australia have. And obviously they're probably the world leaders in women's cricket, and I guess that's probably a reflection of the fact that they can have 6-7 squads of 15 players all getting paid to play. I think going forward that'll obviously be something that the ECB are looking to, and England and Wales as a whole, that they'll be looking to get more full-time contracted players, and that's obviously going to then increase the pool of talent for England selection and moving forward, which is only going to raise the standard and hopefully see us winning more silverware as a nation.
What do you think your younger self, so like 12, 13-year-old Jo, would have made of the fact that you've gone on to achieve this and get this contract?
I think a bit of disbelief, to be honest with you. I've said it in a couple of times when I've spoken, like, I don't think it was ever really a thing I thought would happen. It was probably only kind of up to maybe 3 years ago that I thought potentially, I could make a little bit of a career out of this. But certainly when I was younger, kind of 12, 13, it was literally, I just want to see how good and how far I can push myself, and wherever I kind of end up in that journey, then so be it. I was never really thinking, I can definitely make a career out of this in 10 years time, 11 years time, whatever. So yeah, I'd probably say a bit disbelieving, thinking that that's not going to happen in the time that you're going to be playing cricket, kind of thing. So yeah, it's amazing, and that's probably why I'm loving it so much, and I'm so grateful for it. Yeah,
that's so good to hear. I think if you'd just spoken to anyone, any female playing cricket kind of 10 years ago, would have said exactly what you've just said. So it is, like you say, just amazing to see it. And next one I'm going to ask, because Callum asked me this on last week's show, and you're definitely in a better place to answer it than me. If you could give a young girl either playing cricket at the minute or just wanting to start out or getting involved, some advice, what would that advice be?
I think for me it's a lot to do with the enjoyment factor and working hard. I think if you work hard, you're always gonna give yourself the best opportunity to progress if that's something that you're certainly interested in doing and making a career out of the sport. That's got to be there, but again, balancing that with not being too hard on yourself and enjoying it. I think certainly when I was that age, probably between 12 to 17, I was very hard on myself and probably didn't actually enjoy the sport as much as I do now, which is strange because ironically there's probably a bit more pressure on me now as a professional than there would have been as a 15-year-old. It's a bit of a strange phenomenon, but I think because I was very concerned with obviously just trying to do well and see where that got me, it probably took a little bit out of the enjoyment factor of that. So I'd certainly say as long as you work hard and keep enjoying the game and almost remember why you started. I know it's a cliche that's used a lot, but that certainly helps you stay grounded. So yeah, that'd be my advice for anyone.
Yeah, that's good.
Starting out.
What's your reason that you started? What's that thing that you always think back to and remember?
I just playing cricket in the garden with my brother, to be honest, and just wanting to beat him, and that kind of competitive edge of him being the older brother wanting to get me out and thinking that I was not very good and an easy wicket for him kind of thing. I think a few times I might have hit the ball over the next door neighbour's garden, and then it was kind of like, yeah, there's something within me here. I reckon I can get him out or whack him for six.
Move on to some quick fire fun rounds, if that's all right. So just going to shout some out for you. Favourite ground you've played at?
I would say Edgbaston.
Nice. Favourite umpire?
Sue Redfern. She's a very good umpire.
Good answer. Fastest bowler you've ever faced?
Catherine Brunt, I think.
Best way to occupy the time in a rain delay?
Bit of corridor cricket. Can't beat that, can you?
Standard. Your greatest cricketing achievement?
I would say, getting awarded one of these full-time contracts, to be honest.
Yeah. And finally, the 3 cricketing dinner guests, alive or dead, that you'd have at your dream dinner?
I reckon you got to have Freddie Flint off. I reckon he's a character that'd have some stories to tell. A.B. de Villiers, he's someone I've always admired. Seems pretty cool. And probably Jofra Archer. Little bit rogue, but just pick his brain, see how he was feeling at the top of his mark when he was running into bowl in that World Cup final.
And how he manages to bowl with that huge watch on that must weigh more than his hand.
Correct, and the chain, and still bowl at 94 mile an hour. It's ridiculous.
Brilliant. Right, well, that's everything. Thanks a lot for coming on, Jo. It's great to chat to you, and really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks a lot for having me.